Welcome to Invest Ed.
Welcome sa Invest Ed. Okay, so ngayon yung ating re-reviewin na stocks at i-analyze ay ang company na Megaworld Corporations. No? So sa pag-analyze ng stock, malalaman natin dito no, kung ano yung strength and weaknesses ng company and worth it ba siyang pag-investan ng pera nating pinaghirapan. Okay? Kasi napaka-importante no, na bago tayo pumasok sa gusto natin pasukan na stocks, dapat alam natin no, kung maganda ba yung moat, maganda ba yung management, yung pamamalakad ng management sa company, mababa lang ba yung utang, okay? And may future growth ba yung company, no? Siyempre dapat alam natin kung ano yung intrinsic value ng company or yung fair value. Kasi kahit gaano kaganda yung business, kapag bumibili ka sa sobrang presyo at sobrang mahal na presyo, it is worthless investment. Okay? Sabi nga ni Warren Buffett no, na price is what you pay, value is what you get. Okay guys? And syempre, lastly, no, dapat naiintindihan natin yung company, no, yung business model ng company. Kasi kung di mo naiintindihan yung mission, vision, and business model ng company, huwag ka na mag-invest. Kasi napaka-importante na alam natin, no, dapat naandun tayo sa circle of competence natin, no, na worth it, na alam natin, the near future, na andyan pa rin yung company na yan at matibay pa rin yung company na yan, no. So, yun yung mga tatalakayin natin, no. So lahat-lahat ng yan, ipagsasama-sama natin sa isang video para makabuo tayo ng matibay na konklusyon at matibay na pundasyon sa pag-i-invest natin sa stock market. Okay? So, kung ready na kayo, samahan nyo ako. Let's start and see you on the other side. Hello guys! So kung hindi pa kayo nakaka-subscribe, so please subscribe and hit the notification bell para updated kayo sa mga videos na parating at marami pa kayong matutunan sa channel na ito. So maraming salamat! This is PSE Warrior saying, trade well, trade strong, and trade smart. Company description of Megaworld, no? So Megaworld was incorporated on August 24, 1989 to engage in real estate development, leasing, and marketing. In 1996, the company shifted its focus to providing office building to support the BPO businesses when it began development of the Eastwood City Township. And also, no, in August 1999, Megaworld changed its corporate name to the present one with its conversion from a pure real estate company into holding company. Although the company continued to focus on its core competence in real estate development. Okay? For more information about this company, no, so panoorin muna natin tong short clip about sa kanila.
Develops, markets, and leases real estate properties in the Philippines. It operates through real estate, rental, hotel operations, and corporate and others segments. It develops mixed-use planned communities or townships, including residential, commercial, office, leisure, entertainment, and educational training components. The company's real estate portfolio comprises residential condominium units, subdivision lots and townhouses, and condominium hotel projects, as well as office projects and retail spaces. It is also involved in the lease of office and retail spaces and property-related activities, such as project design, construction oversight, and property management, as well as provision of business process outsourcing, educational facilities, restaurants, cafes, cocktail bars, lounges, inns, apartments, private clubs, and other related businesses. In addition, Megaworld Corporation owns, leases, and manages hotels. The company was formerly known as Megaworld Properties and Holdings, Incorporated, and changed its name to Megaworld Corporation in August 1999. The company was founded in 1989 and is based in Taguig.
Ano natin no kung ano meron sa company na to, no? Okay, so nakafocus sila sa real estate development, okay? And now dumako tayo sa fundamentals. Okay, sa fundamentals ni Megaworld Corporations, no? So ngayon nandito na sa Reuters.com, no? And nandito tayo sa financial tab and sa income statement tayo, annually siya. Nakikita natin dito from 2015 to 2019. Nakikita natin dito yung revenue niya from 2015 na mayroong 44.8 billion pesos revenue. And in 2019 na meron siyang 67.3 billion pesos revenue na. Okay? Okay, so comparing to the net income of Megaworld, no, in 2015, nakikita natin dito na meron siyang 10.2 billion pesos net income, and in 2019 na merong 17.9 billion pesos net income na siya, no? Okay? Okay, so this data ay annually, no? So, nang time na to, pinaka-latest data nila is 2019 pa. So, nang time na 2019, hindi pa sakop dito yung coronavirus, no? So ngayon titignan natin dito in quarterly kung ano nangyari sa kanya, no, in 2020 and quarterly basis. Okay? Pansin natin dito na yung pinaka-latest quarterly report nila na nandito ay yung second quarter of 2020. And comparing to the second quarter of 2020 and first quarter of 2020, first quarter of 2020, no? From first quarter na mayroon silang revenue na 15 billion and now mayroon na lang silang 8.7 revenue, no? And also, comparing to the second quarter of 2020 and second quarter of 2019, in 2019 na mayroon silang 16.7 revenue and now mayroon na lang silang 8.7 revenue. Okay? And comparing to the first quarter of 2020 and second quarter of 2019, no, na mayroon silang revenue in first quarter na 3.5 and second quarter ay mayroong 1.8 na lang na revenue. So malaki yung kanilang pinaba ng revenue, no? And comparing to the same quarter, no, in 2019 nakikita natin na mayroon siyang 4.4 billion revenue and now mayroon na lang 1.8. So nakikita natin na bumaba yung revenue ulit niya, no, comparing to this quarter. No, ngayon titignan natin, no, i-deep tackle natin about sa ano yung nag-contribute ng baba ng revenue nila, no? Okay? Kasi courtesy of this data, no, sa COL Financial, nakuha natin itong report na to, no? So, Megaworld second quarter of 2020 profit declined by 57.5% year to year to 1.9 billion as a quarantine measure during the period limited operations of Megaworld residential, shopping malls, and hotel businesses. And also, no, office leasing and other hand was business as usual and still registered growth during the period. Okay? And also, no, the revenue during the quarter was down by 48.4% for the first half of the year. Then, MEG net profit was down to 34.93% to 5.4 billion. Also, this is the result summary na nakikita natin dito na from the revenue, no, the revenue side nila, comparing to the second quarter of 2020 and 2019, down by 48.4%, and first half of 2019 and 2020, down by 24.12%. Okay? And sa kanila net profit, no, down by 57.44%. Okay? In the second quarter of 2019 and 2020, and in first half of 2019-2020, down by 34.93%. Okay? And nakikita natin dito yung kanilang revenue breakdown, no. Sa kanilang malls, down by 87.5%, no, comparing to this quarter. And sa office nila, up by 7.7%. Okay? And comparing to the first half of 2019 and 2020, yung malls nila in first half ay down by 48.4% and the office down up by 10%. Okay? And in this report, no, nakita din natin dito the reservation sales reached 38 billion in first half of 2020, although this is a 52% lower compared to the same period last year. This puts Megaworld on track to meet its revised full year target of 75 billion in sales. MEG is encouraged by the recovery in demand from its April low since they launched 2 additional projects in July worth of combined 3.1 billion after holding off during the second quarter. Operating profit breakdown, nakita natin dito na 48% of their businesses 48% of their operating profit came from leasing activities, and 51% came from real estate, and 1% from hotels, no? So nakita natin dito na talagang apektado sila, no? Apektado siya ng pandemic, ng time na nag-down talaga yung kanilang net income. Ito yung epekto sa kanila ng pandemic, no? So, yeah. So, hopefully, third quarter of 2020 and or second half of 2020, no? So, magkaroon sila ng mag-bounce back sila doon sa kanilang normal revenue. So, yun yung mga titignan natin, no, na scenario in the third quarter of 2020 report nila, no? Kung makakabawi na sila, no? Napapansin natin, no, na gumawa ako ng Excel sheet about sa moat analysis, management, and debt ratings, no? So, yung first of screening ko, so gumawa tayo niyan. So, titignan natin ito yung Megaworld. So, ito siya. Nasa-zoom out lang natin siya para makakita natin siya na mas maayos at hindi masyadong overcrowded. Okay? Okay, so, kung napapansin natin dito, no, from sa kanya earnings per share versus free cash flow per share, no? Okay, nakikita natin na yung kanyang earnings per share ay merong 0.53 per share, and yung kanyang free cash flow per share ay merong 0.72. So, meaning nakikita natin na mas mataas yung free cash flow per share. Nangangahulugan nito na there's a file of cash meron itong si Megaworld, no? So, in terms of free cash flow sa kanya, nakikita natin dito na meron siyang 23 billion free cash flow, no? So, para makuha yung free cash flow, kailangan natin ng cash from operating activities, minus lang natin sa capex natin. Okay? So, in terms of free cash flow yield, nakikita natin na 23% yung kanyang free cash flow yield, which is maganda, no? Kasi ang gusto natin makita, 10% pataas yung kanyang free cash flow yield. Ibig sabihin, it is undervalue in terms of free cash flow yield alone. Okay? So, mataas siya. And yung kanyang net profit margin ay umaabot ng 28%, which is good, no? Mataas. Now, dito tayo sa moat analysis natin sa kanya. Nakita natin, in terms of moat, ratings natin sa kanya is 10, no? So, moat is popularized by Warren Buffett, no? So, ito yung competitive advantage ng company, no, to its competitors, no? So, ibig sabihin, hindi basta mapapasok ng mga competitors yung kanyang businesses, no? So, ito lamang siya, protections ng company, no? So, nakita natin na 10, no? 10 siya. So, yung categories natin sa kanya is yung 4, yung earnings per share, yung net income, cash for operating activities, book value per share, and earnings per share. Okay? So, in terms of management natin, no, sa kanya, ang ratings natin sa kanya is 8. Ang management rating natin sa kanya, which is good, no? In terms of management level natin sa kanya, it's good tayo dyan because, no, ang measurement natin dyan ng management level in first category natin ay ang ROE and ROIC, no? So, maganda yung kanyang ROIC and ROE, no? So, in terms of debt level natin sa kanya through the years, nakita natin na 8 din yung ating rating sa kanya. So, 1 is the lowest, 10 is the highest, no? So, ibig sabihin it is a good in terms of debt to earnings ratio, no? Ang ibig sabihin ng debt to earnings ratio, no? Gaano katagal mababayaran ng company yung kanyang long-term debt gamit lamang yung kanyang net income. So, ito lamang siya, no? So, nakakuha siya ng ratings na 8, okay? 8, which is a good ratings, no? So, overall, yung kanyang ratings, no? Meron siyang 26 ratings. So, papasok siya sa excellent company, no? Okay, guys? Okay, this is the quick overview of Megaworld, no, in terms of first categories of evaluations natin sa kanya. So, ibig sabihin, pasado siya dun sa ating first category. So, pwede tayo magpatuloy sa deep tackle natin sa kanya. Okay, guys? Okay, welcome sa market performance ni Megaworld, no? So, nakikita natin dito, for the past 7 days, nag-return si Megaworld ng 2.6%. Well, the market or the industries ni Megaworld, nag-return siya ng 2.1%, while the market, no, nag-return ng 0.1%. Okay, so in terms of 1-year return ni MEG, no, meron siyang down by 37.9%, while the industries na kinabibilangan niya ay mayroong down by 30.0 or 30%, while the market down by 25.5%. Okay? So in terms of company return versus industries, Megaworld underperformed the industries which returned a negative 30.4 over the past year. Okay? In respect to company return versus market, Megaworld underperformed the Philippine market which returned a 25% down over the past year. Okay? Kasi in terms of price to earnings ratio ni MEG or Megaworld, no, nakikita natin dito, meron siyang price to earnings ratio na 6.9 while the industries na kinabibilangan niya ay merong 7.6. And also, the market have a 13.2 price to earnings ratio, no? Okay, so in terms of price o PE ratio with company versus industries, no? Megaworld is a good value based on its PE ratio na merong 6.9 compared to the Philippine industries na merong 7.6. Okay? And also, no, compared to the Philippine company PE ratio to Philippine market, MEG is a good value based on its PE ratio compared to Philippine market na merong 13.2, no? So, ibig sabihin nito, in terms of PE ratio alone, mas undervalue si Megaworld compared sa industries niya, average, and sa market. Okay, guys? And also, no, comparing to the price to earnings growth ratio ni Megaworld or ni kanyang PEG ratio, ay meron siyang 0.4, no? So, in respect to PEG ratio, MEG is a good value based on its PEG ratio na merong 0.4, no? So, ibig sabihin itong PEG ratio, less than 1 yung PEG ratio, it is considered undervalued stocks or undervalued company, no? In terms of PEG ratio alone, no? So, nakita natin na 0.4, it is considered a undervalue in terms of price to earnings growth ratio alone. Okay? Okay, now in terms of price to book ratio ni MEG or Megaworld, nakita natin yung company merong 0.6, the industries na kinabibilangan niya ay merong 0.8, and the market ay merong 1 price to book ratio. So in comparing to industries and company price to book ratio, Megaworld is a good value base on its price to book ratio compared to the Philippine industries na merong 0.8. Okay? So in terms of future growth ni Megaworld, nakikita natin dito na Megaworld to perform in the next 1 to 3 year based on estimates from 9 analysts na nakalap natin, no? Meron siyang forecasted annual earnings growth na 18.1% based on 9 analysts na nakalap natin, no? And meron siyang earnings and revenue growth forecast, no? So okay, so in June 30, 2020, no, nakikita natin dito yung kanyang revenue ay merong 56.5 billion pesos per year, earnings na 14.4 billion pesos per year, and free cash flow na merong 20.2 billion pesos per year, cash from operating activities or operations na merong 20.5 billion pesos per year. Okay? Okay, so in terms of analyst future growth forecast, no? So in terms of forecast annual earnings growth of a company or ni Megaworld, nakikita natin dito na meron siyang 18.8 forecasted, while the industries na kinabibilangan niya ay merong forecasted growth in terms of earnings na mayroong 29.3%, while the market na mayroong 27.7%, no? So in terms of forecast annual revenue ni Megaworld, meron siyang forecasted na 15.2%, while the average of industries na kinabibilangan niya ay merong 20.3%, while the market ay merong 11.9% annual revenue growth forecast. Okay? So in terms of earnings versus savings rate, no, so check tayo dyan because Megaworld forecast earnings growth is above the savings rate ng Pilipinas or yung rate of band natin na meron lang 5.1. So ang meaning nito, kapag bumaba yung forecasted growth of a company sa 5.1, edi sa band ka na lang mag-invest, no? So yun lang yan ang comparison natin dyan, no? And comparing to the earnings versus market, no? Earnings of a market, Megaworld earnings are forecasted to grow slower than the Philippine market because the Philippine market ay mayroong forecast growth na 27.6%, while the earnings of MEG or Megaworld ay meron lang 18.1% per year, which is okay, no? And in terms of high growth earnings, nakita natin dito na Megaworld earnings are forecasted to grow but not significantly. Okay, guys? And in terms of revenue versus market, check tayo dyan. Nasa green flag tayo dyan because revenue of MEG are forecasted to grow faster than the Philippine market. Okay? Kasi yung forecasted ng analyst na nakalap natin ay merong lang 11.9% per year revenue, while the market or while the Megaworld ay mayroong 15.2% per year forecasted. Okay? And in terms of high growth revenue, no, in terms of high growth revenue kay Megaworld, nakikita natin dito na Megaworld revenue is forecasted to grow slower than 20%. Okay? So if we considered a company of growth revenue or forecasted revenue na pag 20% pataas, it is considered a high growth revenue. Okay, guys? Okay, in terms of future return on equity ni Megaworld in 3 years time, no, nakikita natin dito na meron siyang 8.5 forecasted a return on equity or ROE, and the industries na kinabibilangan niya ay merong 8.8, no? So in respect to future ROE, Megaworld return on equity is forecasted to be low in 3 years time. Okay? Okay, so sa mga hindi nakakaalam po ano yung return on equity, no? Sa return on equity, it is a measurement of a management, no? Kung gaano kagaling yung management to produce a profit from their businesses, or kung gaano kagaling ang management to handle others people's money. Okay? Also, in terms of past performance ni Megaworld, no, nakikita natin ito over the past 5 years, yung kanyang earnings revenue growth ay umaabot ng 10.9%, which is maganda, no, mataas yan. 10.9% over the past 5 years. That's a good, no, earnings growth. So, in terms of earnings and revenue history, nakikita natin dito, no. Okay, from 2013 na mayroon silang revenue na 30.23 billion pesos, and earnings lang na 8.1 billion pesos na earnings, and meron sa net profit margin na 27, no? And as of June 30, 2020, meron na silang revenue na 56 billion pesos and earnings na 14.4 billion pesos and net profit margin na 25.6, and free cash flow na 20.2 billion pesos, and cash from operations na mayroong 20.5 billion pesos, and operating expense na 13.8 billion pesos. Okay? So, okay, in terms of high quality earnings ni Megaworld, na nakikita natin, na check tayo dyan, nasa green flag tayo, Megaworld has high quality of earnings. So, nakikita naman natin, no? And growing revenue profit, nakikita natin naman na nasa medyo red flag tayo because MEG current net profit margin are lower than the last year, no? So, bumaba lang naman ng kaunti, no? Mas mababa siya ngayon kaysa compare sa last year na mayroon 26.5% profit margin. Okay? In respect to return on assets, kay Megaworld, no, nakikita natin dito na mayroon siyang 3.8 return on assets, while the industries na kinabibilangan niya is 4. So, mas mataas ang industries, no? So, yung meaning lang nitong return on assets, no, ito yung kita niya compare sa kanya mga ari-arian. Okay? So, yung return on capital employed, nakikita natin dito, last year, meron siyang 7.2%, while the market in 3 years ago, mayroon siyang 7.4. So, bumaba yung kanyang return on capital employed. Okay? Well, in terms of financial health ni Megaworld, no, nakikita natin dito yung kanyang financial position or yung kanyang financial health, no? Papasin natin dito sa kanyang short-term assets and short-term liabilities, no? Sobrang taas ng kanyang difference. Okay? So, from short-term assets, no? So, ano muna meaning na short-term assets, no? Short-term assets, ito yung assets niya na kaya niya i-convert into cash within a year. Okay? Pag nangangailangan siya ng pera, so kaya ito yung kaya niyang i-convert, no? Meron siyang 190.3 billion pesos billion pesos, no, of short-term assets. And yung kanyang short-term liabilities naman ay meron lamang na 60.23 billion pesos short-term liabilities. So, ang meaning na short-term liabilities, no, ito naman yung obligations ng company na binabayaran within a year. Okay? And also, yung kanyang short-term assets and long-term liabilities naman, no. So, okay, sa long-term assets naman, okay, meron siyang 166.3 billion long-term assets. So, anong ibig sabihin nun? Ang ibig sabihin ng long-term assets, ito naman yung assets na kaya niya i-convert into cash more than a year. Okay? And long-term liabilities, ito naman yung obligations na company na binabayaran more than a year. Okay? So, okay guys, so kukunin natin yung current ratio ni Megaworld. Okay guys? No? So, kailangan natin ng current assets, ito, and current liabilities. Okay guys? So, i-divide natin siya from current assets na merong 190.36. Okay, divide sa ating current liabilities na merong 60.23. And meron siyang current assets na 3.16. So, sobrang ganda na kanyang in terms of financial position sa kanya, no? So, ang meaning lang nito, no, kayang bayaran ng company ni Megaworld yung kanyang short-term liabilities ng 3.16 times ng kanyang short-term assets. Okay? So, maganda yan. So it is a good sign, no, para na sa mga investors na nakikita natin yung ganyang ratio, no? Meaning, current ratio pataas, yung nakita nating ratio is considered a good sign, no, na maganda yung pamamalakad in terms of financial health ng company. Okay? Also, in terms of short-term liabilities, no, okay, nakikita naman natin, no, Megaworld short-term assets exceed its short-term liabilities. And in respect to long-term liabilities, nasa green flag din also tayo sa kanya because Megaworld short-term assets, nakita natin short-term asset na to, exceeds its long-term liabilities, no? Kayang-kaya, di ba? So, maganda. And also, no, sa kanyang debt to equity history analysis natin sa kanya, no, from 2013 na mayroon siyang 31.6% debt to equity analysis or debt to equity ratio, and now in 2020, in June 30, 2020, meron siyang 36.1 debt to equity ratio. So, maganda yan. Bakit natin nasabing maganda? No? Kasi, kapag nag-analyze tayo ng stocks, nagre-review ng stocks, tinitignan natin yung debt to equity ratio ng company. So, na ibig sabihin nun, no? Kapag 40% pababa yung kanyang debt to equity ratio, it is considered a low debt to equity ratio. Okay? So, anong ibig sabihin nito, no? Sa madaling salita, ng debt to equity ratio para sa atin. Okay? Ang ibig sabihin nito, no? And every 1 peso na ginagamit ni Megaworld sa kanyang operation, 36.1% noon ng 1 peso ay finance or galing sa utang. So, yun lamang yun, no? So, nakita natin na mababa, ano tayo dyan? Green flag tayo sa kanya. Okay? As in terms of debt level sa kanya, no? Megaworld debt to equity ratio is considered satisfactory or low, no? And in respect to reducing of debt kay Megaworld, no, nakita natin na Megaworld debt to equity ratio increased from 31% to 36%, no, over the past 5 years. But still, it is considered a low debt to equity ratio, na. And in respect to debt coverage, no, kay Megaworld, no, green flag din tayo sa kanya because Megaworld debt is well covered by operating cash flow. And in terms of interest coverage, check din tayo sa kanya or green flag because Megaworld earn more interest than it pays. So, coverage of interest payment is not a concern. Okay? And also, this is the balance sheet snapshot of Megaworld, no? Okay guys, so dito naman tayo sa dividend, no, ni Megaworld. So in terms of Megaworld current dividend yield, it's reliable or sustainable ba? So in terms of current dividend yield ni ni Megaworld, no? Nakikita natin dito na meron siyang 2.38% current dividend yield, no? Okay guys? Okay, so in respect to notable dividend, nakikita natin dito, Megaworld dividend na merong 2.38 o 2.4 is higher than the bottom 25% dividend payers in the Philippine market, lamang 1.7% of dividend, no? Respect to high dividend, no, Megaworld dividend na mayroon 2.38% dividend yield is low compared to the top 25% of dividend payers in the Philippine market na mayroong average na 4.64 or 4.7. Okay? And ang industry's average ng dividend ay mayroong 1.7 lang. Mas mataas pa rin yung dividend ni Megaworld kasi sa industry's average niya, no? And in respect to forecast in 3 years, meron siyang 2.3 forecasted. Okay, guys? And also, no, in terms of stability growth payments of dividend ni Megaworld, no, from 2010 na meron siyang dividend yield na 0.9 lang %, while yung anong dividend per share na merong 0.019 pesos dividend per share. And now in 2020, no, na meron na siyang 2.4% of dividend yield, and meron siyang dividend per share na binibigay na 0.074 dividend per share na. Okay guys, nakita natin na over the years improving yung kanyang dividend, no? Although nakita natin dito from March of 26, no, 2015 to November 13, 2015, hindi sila nabigyan ng dividendo. And then the rest, dire-diretso na, no? Okay? Also, in terms of current payout to shareholders ni MEG, no? Okay, nakita natin dito yung kanyang current payout ratio ay mayroong 15%, no? And in terms of current payout ratio to shareholders, 15%. So, ang meaning lang nito, no, okay, so itong payout to shareholders, no, yung current payout ratio ni MEG ay mayroong 15%, no? Ang meaning nito, no, 15% na kanilang earnings sa binibigay sa dividendo, no? So, in terms of dividend coverage, check tayo dyan because with its low payout ratio na 15.4, MEG dividend payments are well covered by the earnings. Okay? Members of MEG, no, nakikita natin dito yung kanilang chairman na si Andrew Tan, okay, na merong ownership sa company na 0.30% or ng halagang 298.3 million pesos, no? And this the rest of members, board members of MEG. Okay guys? In respect to experienced board member, no, nakikita natin dito na MEG board of directors are seasoned and experienced kasi meron silang talagang average na tenure na 16.3 years, no? Talagang batikan na sila dito pagdating sa pag-handle, no? And in terms of average age, na meron silang average age na 69 years old, no? And this is the ownership breakdown of Megaworld, no? Nakita natin dito na 65% owned by public companies, 25.5% owned by general public, 7.6% owned by institution, 1.6% owned by private companies, and 0.3% owned by individual insiders. Okay, so in terms of dilution of shares, green flag tayo sa kanya because shareholders have not been meaningfully diluted in the past year. Okay? So, sa mga hindi nakakaalam kung ano yung dilution of shares or diluted shares, no? Kapag nag-i-issue ng new shares, yung company o nag-raise ng shares, bumababa yung percentage of ownership ng mga shareholders. Okay? Okay, this is the top shareholders of MEG, no? Megaworld. So, si Alliance Global na mayroong 65% ownership sa kanya and yung current value niya is 65.3 billion pesos. Okay? And this is the rest of top shareholders ni Megaworld. Okay? Okay guys? So, alam na natin kung ano yung fundamentals at alam na natin kung ano meron kay Megaworld, no? So, ngayon, dadako na tayo sa intrinsic value, no? Kung paano natin hinahanap yung intrinsic value ng company, no? So, ang una nating hahanapin is yung future net income ng company in 2020, no? And average price niya for the past 5 years. Okay? So, net income. Okay, first yung nahanap nating net income, no, based sa 6th analyst na kinumpile natin, no. Meron siyang net income na forecasted in 2020, ayan, na 12.1 billion pesos net income, no? Okay? Second, meron siyang forecasted net income in 2020 na 12.3 billion. And the lastly, no, itong last na nahanap natin, itong kay COL na meron siyang forecasted na 11.8 billion net income. Ang pinakamababa na nahanap natin na forecasted net income ay itong kay COL, no, and that net income niya in 2020. Merong 11.8 net income. Okay, guys, so nahanap na natin yung forecasted net income in 2020 ni Megaworld, no. Ngayon, kukunin naman natin yung average PE ratio niya for the past 5 years. Okay, guys? Okay, guys, nandito tayo sa MSN Money, no, para makuha yung kanyang. Okay, kung titignan natin dito, no, yung kanyang average yung kanyang PE ratio high in 5 years is nasa 13.31 and yung kanyang PE ratio in 5 years low mayroong 7.38. Okay, ang gagawin natin, i-average natin tong dalawang to, no, para makuha yung ating PE ratio niya, no, para magamit natin siya para makuha yung future forecasted market capitalizations ni Megaworld. Okay? Kasi input muna natin tong average PE ratio niya for 5 years high, okay, na meron 13.31 plus yung ating average low na 7.38, no? 7.38. Okay? And then i-divide natin siya sa 2 para makuha yung kanyang PE ratio, no? So, kasi may PE ratio siya na 10.34. So, gagamitin natin to para makuha yung ating market capitalization sa kanya. Okay? So, now, ang gagawin natin, dito times na natin siya doon sa ating nakuhang net income forecasted in 2020, which is ito, no, 11.817, no? Okay? 11. Okay, guys? So, ito yung ating market capitalization sa kanya. Ito yung ating future market capitalization sa kanya. Nasa 123.3 billion pesos, no? So, ngayon gagawin natin, para makuha yung intrinsic value ng company, i-divide natin yung current market cap ng company and i-divide natin siya dito sa ating nakuhang future market capitalizations. Okay, guys? So, para makuha yung ating current market capitalization ng company, pumunta tayo sa Reuters. Okay? Okay, so nandito tayo sa Reuters.com, no? So, nakikita natin dito sa baba, yung kanyang current market capitalization ay nasa 105 billion pesos. Okay? So, kukunin muna natin to. Okay, so na-input na natin siya. Ang gagawin natin, i-divide na natin siya doon sa ating nakuhang future market capitalizations na. Okay, guys? So, yung ating nakuhang sagot, no, ay nasa 0.81 or 0.2. So, yung nakuha natin sagot is 0.82, no? Okay? So, ang gagawin natin dyan, i-divide natin yung ating current price na 3.10, divide natin siya dito sa ating 0.82, no? Para makuha yung ating intrinsic value kay Megaworld. Okay? So, yung ating sagot ay nasa 3.78 yung ating intrinsic value ngayon sa kanya, no? Okay, nasa 3.78 ang ating intrinsic value sa kanya. Okay, guys, so ang gagawin natin, no, magkakaroon tayo ng margin of safety sa ating intrinsic value or parang buffer natin sa kanya, no? Para magkaroon tayo ng discounted price para bumili, no? Kapag bumaba doon sa margin of safety natin, it is considered a buy ratings, no? In terms of intrinsic value alone. Okay? So, para makuha yon, ating intrinsic value, ita-times natin siya sa 0.80 para makuha yung 20% margin of safety natin sa kanya, which is 3.02, no? Kapag bumaba dito yung presyo sa 3.02, it is considered a buy ratings sa kanya. Okay? Kasi napapansin natin, no, na nasa 3.10 yung ating current price and nasa 3.02 yung kanyang margin of safety natin sa kanya. So which is nasa hold position tayo sa kanya hanggat hindi siya bumaba doon sa ating margin of safety na 3.02 guys, no? Okay? Hello guys, maraming salamat sa panonood. Sana marami kayo natutunan sa video na to. So kung hindi pa kayo nakaka-subscribe, so please subscribe and hit the notification bell para updated kayo sa mga videos na parating at marami pa kayong matutunan sa channel na ito. So maraming salamat. This is PSE Warrior saying, trade well, trade strong, and trade smart.